Hello and welcome back to a new Woodshire. It is still the middle of spring, and we have come down to the shop to pick up this. Yes, this is our brand new addition to the farm. This is a John Deere 6215R. This is the replacement that we've been looking for our 7710, which of course developed that issue with its PTO, and then yeah, it just got worse from there. Ended up going to cost us more than the tractor was worth, so we invested in a new one, and that is this 6215. It's got about 100 horsepower more than our 7710 had, and this is going to be our new general tractor around the farm. So let's jump in. So I finished all the paperwork this morning. And got dropped down here to come down and pick it up. Sounds gorgeous. Sounds absolutely brilliant. And should serve us well. So yeah, as I was saying, this will be our new sort of general use tractor around the farm. We're going to be doing all of our, so all of the emptying, all of the straw bale shredding will be done this. Feeding the animals will be done with this. Carting will be done with this. We do have a job immediately to get it doing today as well. And that is, that our farm workman, Chris, he is already up on the farm. We're going to head up this way because we don't often head back this way. He is heading, he's headed out to the field already and is cutting grass. So we're doing some haymaking today. Just passing past my sister's farm on the left. Sorry, on the right in there. And we are coming up to here. And I think we might be able to see him in the distance if we do well. Yeah, we can get into our farm here. Our farm stretches to the edge here. So this track isn't actually ours, but we do have access via it if we need to. Because that gives us access onto these tracks here. With this field here, on our left, field 21, that is going to be corn this year. And then over here, we have field 29 and 30, both grass fields that we tend to work together. And you see that Chris has got started on working on those two at the moment. I wonder if we can see him at the far end. Yeah, I can just see the cab of his tractor working at the far end. He's running our 40 series tractor up there. So he's doing the mowing at the moment with that. While we're heading back over here, we're going to go and Ted behind him and get that turned over, because you can see that grass is really rather dark and wet. It's been a wet few weeks. I've gone the wrong. I know I have gone the right way because we want to get our Vicon Tedder, don't we? So yeah, it's been a wet few days. So the grass is not all that dry. We're going to have to give it a couple of Teds before it gets to the right moisture content. Really help it dry out a bit. There we go. Lift it up. There we are. And yeah, so we get to the right moisture content, and it will all dry out, and then we can row it up and we can get it baled and brought back into here. There we go. Yeah, there he is. Oh, we have a lot of traffic. We've got 4 entrances to this farm, and I've considered, trying to block up a couple or take a couple out of use. To be honest, oh no, it's not. Is it 4? It might be even 5. But basically, I found it's much better for us for accessing various places to have these all open. So he's there and is getting started on his 3rd headland. Our tedder is a little bit wider than that mower is. So I wanted to give him a good head start anyway with what we were doing. So he is trundling away at that. In that older tractor, and that older tractor actually has done a fantastic job. I have been impressed by that. It's still really useful on this farm after all this time. It's a pity about our 7710, but it is nice to have a new tractor like this. And this has all the mod cons in it as well. We've got GPS on here. We've got an ice box for my lunch. It's all good. I'm really pleased with this. And look at this. I don't think the grass is that wet. It looks like it's yeah, it's turning over, and it's looking not quite so wet underneath. So we might get away with this before we get any more rain. It's always a little bit of a gamble when you do the hay. You can very easily end up with a much, well, you can end up with losing it because you end up with more rain on it, and then it starts to rot away, and yeah, it's not good. So we're hoping for a few dry days now that might just give us the opportunity to get this in, and yeah, to up our hay that we've got on the farm, and maybe even sell some. You know, if we're able to sell some and bring some extra income into the farm, that is always a good thing as well. He is fractionally ahead of us at the moment. So we'll get this headland done, and his next cut won't be quite so wide because he's going to start on doing the up and down now that he's got enough space to turn. But that will be all good. So I'm going to keep this going, and we'll see how we do. But this at the moment, I'm pleased with this. We're gonna have a good set of hay off here, I think. So Chris and I have swapped vehicles. He's having a go in the 6R now with the tedder, while I'm behind with the mower, and yeah, our trailed behind mower that this tractor seems to handle pretty well. I wanted to do a comparison of you know. These two tractors are there's over 2 decades between them, and I wanted to get a feel of driving this one immediately after driving that, and yeah, it's an interesting one. It really is. Of course, this has none of the bells and whistles that 6R does. The steering feels that much heavier, even though this does have power steering on it. It is, yeah, it still feels heavier. And then, of course, yeah, everything is levers and no screens, and it's all dials, and it's so much more stripped back. And I've been driving this tractor for a long time. You know, this has been on the farm for as long as I can remember. And yeah, and I've never noticed it so much, and I've never done such a direct comparison before. Sure, I've driven this tractor, done the cows, and then gone and headed out to the field here, and got in the 7R, which of course is very similar to that 6, but at the same time, it's not such a direct comparison. I'm really tempted before the end of this field to sort of switch the actual tractors over, get the 6R on this mower, and get it going. I think in the long run that will actually be a better way to do this job, because the 6R will move that much faster does move that much faster than this does on either of these pieces of equipment. So having the 4240 running behind makes an awful lot more sense. And plus, I want to get back in the 6R, and I think the 6R will be nice on here with the mower on it. I think it'll be an interesting setup to run that. So yeah, I wanna give that a go. So I'm gonna continue on for this a little bit. I think then, yeah, we might swap the tractors over, and I'll have a go at mowing with the 6R and trying out how that is on there. It looks like it's been a good day to dry today. I think the moisture content in our hay has not, or in our grass has not been that high. We're now cutting drier stuff. You can see the change in colour between what we were cutting earlier and what we're cutting now, it's dried out a lot today. That's really good news. That means that we're likely to be able to get this all dried fairly quickly in the next couple of days, and as a result be in a really good place to get this baled up and stored before we get any sort of late spring rains or anything, which will be very good news. I'm impressed. This tractor has performed well on this mower. I was saying a minute ago that I think this is faster. I think the 6R was faster. Not so. I think it's more that when I'm driving the tractors, I don't take such complicated turning maneuvers as Chris does. Chris is a little bit more by the book and is very much more precise in his turning. I'm not quite so much. I tend to take a nice big circle, whatever won't break my PTO, and round I go to try and get it to try and keep things quick and efficient and going fast. So yeah, he does like his big long circles, or big sort of back and forths, does Chris. I turn the PTO off as well when I'm raising my mower. Just because if you do take that turn and you don't, you will bust the PTO. But as we're both up this end of the field, I'm going to switch the tractors over, and we'll try the mower on the 6R. I'm back in the 6R now, and yeah, this is a much nicer ride. It's so much better. I'm much happier with this. It's not surprising, as I said, that there is quite an age gap between these two tractors. But this one, definitely smoother ride, nicer to go. I probably could use the GPS to make this a much easier cut to do. But to be honest, it's just it's handling this fairly bumpy grass field rather nicely. And I'm really quite pleased with it. Good amount of grass we're getting off here, actually. Looks like we're going to get a really good amount of hay off it. So yeah, in a few days, I think we're going to be able to get this all done and rowed and baled up, and will work well for us. So we're going to keep an eye on the moisture content here. But it's yeah, this system has worked well. We're still, it's got Chris out here still doing the tedding the grass, even though you can't see a difference in it. Yeah, you won't, because it was on that cusp, and that meant cutting it and tedding it dried it out. Tedding it again will just keep drying this out and keep that drying process going. We'll probably get it tedded again tomorrow, just to give it a day's worth of ted, and then let it dry out, and then turn it over so the stuff that's underneath can then dry out as well. And it just means that we keep this whole process running as much as we can. Right, turn and lift, bring it around, back on, down, and yeah, we've got about 3 strips to go. And yeah, Chris will keep going, and he'll get the rest of this field tedded. But yeah, this 6R is performing quite nicely. We've got a fairly wide wheel set up on it, and we've not got the normal 3-point linkage, or the 3-point linkage we've got on our 7R. And on the back of that 4240, we've not got that set up on here, sort of the bracket, because we don't need it on this. It's very much something that we need on the bigger machines on the farm, and this, of course, is never going to fulfill that function, whereas that 4240 once did. So that's why it's got that bracket on the back on its 3-point linkage. And we are just about done on here. I think we've got one more cut to go, maybe, But yeah, we should get a very nice number of hay bales off here. Keep our cows going for a while and possibly keep a couple of the other local farms going as well. Sell some of these off. Get this all cut and then we're done. And yeah, that is today's job completed. Yeah, it won't be long before we're out here getting this rode up and baled. And that will be that will work really, really nicely for us. As I said, we'll have a nice load of new hay bales. But we are coming to the end of the field now. So job is all done. This 6R has performed really nicely. Very pleased. Great purchase, if I do say so myself. So we'll turn it off, lift it up and fold it. And we'll let Chris get finished. For me though, I'm going to leave this here, which means that all that remains is for me to say thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Please give it a like, drop us a comment and give it a share. And for all the latest videos from the farm, please subscribe to the channel and ring that bell. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.